What's going on, beautiful universe? If you're looking at this video right now, you probably either see the caption over the video or you see the picture right next to it saying supporting black business also means not bashing black business. So I wanted to add a little more context to it because that's what anything like this, the complexities in it needs a little more time to expound upon it to really get an understanding of what that means. When we're talking about not bashing black-owned business, that doesn't necessarily mean not critiquing it or that black-owned business is not as flawless and doesn't have anything that it needs to improve upon or there needs to be more expanded learning or whatever the case may be. But in understanding as we try to grow the black business community, as we try to internalize all of the black dollars, as we try to build an infrastructure of support within black business, we need to make sure that we're giving a little leeway and a little time for expanding and growing. Now, a lot of people looking at this video will have different varying opinions, and rightfully so, and we appreciate all opinions. But just to give you a little understanding of where I'm coming from and why I say, you know, supporting black-owned business also means not bashing black businesses. Just think about it when you're dealing with other entities or other outside businesses outside of the black community versus how we handle incidents that we have inside of a black-owned business per se. Case in point, I'm pretty sure a majority, if not everybody looking at this video, has been to Walmart at some point. You see endless amount of posts and memes and critiques about how Walmart operates, how anytime you go into Walmart, the place is packed, but they only have 2 lines open, how crazy and chaotic the parking lot is, the kind of clientele Walmart has, the list goes on. A lot of people may have even heard it referred to when you talk about Walmart, you talk about it as Wally World. But even in doing so, when we talk about Walmart and places like that, we oftentimes do it while continue to patronize Walmart. I'm complaining about the 2-line system while getting in line to purchase my product, or I'm complaining about the parking lot while trying to find a parking spot in order to continue to go in and continue to buy the products that I'm looking for. I'm complaining about the kind of clientele that they have, but meanwhile I'm navigating around the crazy clientele that they have in order to continue to do my business. Versus when you talk about or when you bash black-owned businesses, you probably heard something of the like, kind of like this: I try to support black-owned business, but so now we completely canceled out everything that we're about to say after. So then we go into whatever incident that happened within said black-owned business, and then we give the reason why we're no longer going to support said business. So therein lies the problem. It's not a case of, black-owned business is not infallible or anything like that, but when you do that, we don't realize the kind of power that our words and our opinions have. Now, when you're dealing with business and marketing and advertising and things of that nature, we have all kinds of ways we can advertise. You have your traditional commercial outlets, you have all your social media boost and promotion, and all these different ways you can try to get your marketing and advertising out. But what has been and what always will be the #1 way of marketing is word of mouth. So when you're dealing with a business, my word and within my circle of people that I deal with, my circle of people that I influence, or my circle of people that I have a relationship with, is always going to have more weight than any other form of advertising. If I come up to a person that I deal with on a regular basis and say, hey, restaurant X has great food, you should check it out. 9 times out of 10, you're going to take my word for it and you're going to go see for yourself, the kind of quality that this restaurant has. Same thing if I say, hey, I went to, such and such business X and it was the worst experience ever. Because we have a relationship of trust, a fiduciary relationship, you're probably going to take my word for it and not patronize said business. So when you do that, when you critique and when you criticize black businesses, you have to be mindful of the kind of weight that it has and the kind of detriment it has on the whole black business infrastructure as a whole. Now, we continue to try to grow our outreach, grow our connectivity, grow our network, and how we interact with each other. But if you don't give black-owned business a chance to grow and correct and mature, we stump out our cause before it even really gets started. So again, like I say, that doesn't mean that black-owned business is without need of improving, without need of correction, without need of growing. But as we deal with anything, everybody needs correction, improvement, and time to grow. raise your hand if you own a black-owned business or you own any kind of black entity where you have it all figured out, where there's not things that you need to improve on, when you look at your checklist and you look at things that can be done better, the things that you need a little more training on, a little more experience. So we all have those things that we have to deal with. And you have to give the people the time to actually get into that position, because a lot of times people have the right intentions, the right motivation, the right effort, but they just don't have the right etiquette. Case in point, I'll give you 3 different examples that I can think of. Me and my wife just recently patronized a black-owned business, and I'll try to be as vague and as cryptic as possible, not to, derail the exact point that I'm trying to make. But case in point, we went to said business, and the business was booming on this day. They had a line of people waiting. We had to wait in line. So I asked them how long was the wait, X, Y, and Z different questions. So we pulled over to the side, decided whether or not we wanted to wait and we wanted to continue on with the service. So my wife said, I'm fine with waiting. I get out the car and I talk to the business owner, or I attempt to talk to the business owner. I say, hey, we're going to go ahead, wait in line, and put us in queue. So he goes on about his business. He's talking to someone else, never responds. So I go, hey, go ahead and put us in a queue. We're going to go wait. So he turns around, very tersely, go, I heard you, walked away. So I go, in my head, wow, that was very rude. So I get back in the car and I'm like, yeah, they need to work on their customer service around here, because that was kind of rude, to be quite honest. Like, they could have just acknowledged and said, hey, I heard you and we're going to put you in line or whatever. But nonetheless, we stayed there and we continued to patronize. Meanwhile, while patronizing, I'm just observing the landscape of things, how business is running. And I'm noticing this business is within the heart of an inner city community. And I'm looking at all the people that this particular company employs. It was at least 5 young black men and women that were employed, working, doing their different variations of job services within the company as things are going on. And he's sitting off to the side, doing his thing, managing whatever he's managing. I'm just watching. I'm like, wow, this business is supplying a lot of opportunities within the inner city, within our community, giving these people a chance that may not be presented if this was another company, or if this company didn't exist because we gave it a bad name or bad rap because of a minor infraction. So anywho, after things go along, I finally get the service done and everything's completed. When I went to go pay, they told me I had to go to the owner of the company in order to pay by credit card. So I do so, and we have a little brief interaction because we actually come out of the same circle, same school, a little younger than me, but I am familiar with the person. So even in this conversation, it's kind of, for lack of a better term, it wasn't the most professional, but I mean, it wasn't anything egregious or nothing be upset about. But in talking and continue to communicate, I told him that, I was proud of what he was doing, and he also has a brother in business too. I'm like, I don't know what it means to you, but I'm proud of you and what you guys are doing. I appreciate what you're doing, yada, yada, yada. So in kind, he's like, hey, tomorrow we have a customer appreciation going on for all of our clients or whatever. You guys stop by. We're going to have food. We're going to have fireworks. Come on, stop by and be a part of what we're doing. So even in the need of, there needs to be correction in the customer service aspect, there's a lot of qualities that this business has that needs to be grown and needs to be promoted, not stifled out because there was a minor incident or a minor infraction that does need to be improved upon. Yes, customer service can and does need to be increased, but this wouldn't be a reason for me to go on all of my social media platforms or talk to anybody that I may deal with and banish this company because of an incident that I may not have appreciated. Case number 2, me and my wife recently went to a locally black-owned restaurant. There was a promotion going on, like a lot of you have probably seen in your communities recently, where different companies are spotlighted and they're saying, hey, go out and support this black-owned business or go out and support that black-owned business on this day. So we go out to support like we always do. And once again, this particular restaurant was crowded. They had a lot of business going on. Everything's going great for them. Awesome, cool, perfect. Loving the scene, loving everything that's going on. Now, in doing so, in receiving all of this business and receiving all of this, patronage, they started to run out of different items. And we've seen this happen before in different black-owned establishments. Is it an issue? Yeah, a little bit. I mean, of course, if you go up there and you got your mouth watering for, a 2-piece chicken dinner and you get up to the line and they say they're out of chicken, you're probably going to be a little disappointed. Understandable. But in running a business and running an operation, there's several different things that you have to learn if someone is not training you on doing so. So one thing is managing inventory and product and resources. So there's a level of training that has to go into knowing how to manage how different products trend, how they're selling, when to buy and restock up on product, and when to when to reinvest before you actually run out. This is a part of management. And several large companies, I've been fortunate to work for several different large corporations. You literally have managers and whole teams that manage just that part of the business. And a lot of different companies that I've worked for, there's literally training and seminars and all these different things that go around your customer service, that goes around management, goes around inventory, merchandising, the list goes on. So you have large Fortune 500 companies that's spending millions on top of millions of dollars to train their employees correctly. Then you have to understand that the same thing has to happen with even a small business. And a lot of times we don't come from a background of formal training or, having, traditional business backgrounds or things of that nature. We have an idea, we have a passion for it, we have an ambition to start a business, and we try to get it up and running and off the ground. And a lot of times as we try to grow and as we try to mature into a reputable and well-running business, there's things that we have to learn. Could we have been upset and left this business behind and complain, as we often do, because customer service wasn't to our the customer experience wasn't to our standard? Sure, we could have. But what would it have done for this great business that a lot of people patronize and a lot of people enjoy the food when it's there? Or where is the leeway, if you will, for us to give them an opportunity to correct this mistake? So I'm sure somebody experienced this with inside of that business and understand, hey, going forward, we need to manage it this way so we don't run into this problem again. But if we all go out and blast it, me with my wife, with the rest of the customers that experienced that same incident on that day, how fast and how quickly do we shut down a business that can be a staple in our community? So those are a couple of things to think about. Lastly, to the point of black business not being infallible, we may have had incidents or situations where we dealt with businesses that just aren't up to standard. It happens. This is a reality. It doesn't matter if it's black business, white business, corporate America, small business, whatever the case may be, it does happen. But in dealing with that issue, does it necessarily require you to go out and blast the business? My last point, I had a person do some work for me recently. It was an up-and-coming black business. I talked to them. I was familiar enough with their work to say, you know what, I know you, I know that you're trying to start a business, I want to support your business. I contracted them to do some work, and to be quite honest, the work wasn't up to the standard that I wanted at all. To the point where we really got to the point where it was like, okay, just so this can be done, because the time is being belabored, there's a lot of quality issues, I'm going to go ahead and pay you, let's go ahead and move on and be done. Now, with that being said, I could have got online, I could have talked to anybody that was willing to listen and tell them how poor of a job that was done. But again, this will stifle out the ability and the chance for this particular business to grow, this particular business to be able to do whatever they need to do as far as correcting actions to get better. Now, with a lot of different services and skill sets, you get better as time goes along. You don't just jump into an industry. You don't just jump in being a carpenter and you're a master carpenter on day one. It takes time to build and grow. Now, could that have been articulated in the beginning? Sure, but be quite honest with yourself. How many of us are going to go in here and say, hey, I do said service, but I'm working at being pretty good at it. I'm not great yet, but I'm decent, but give me a shot. Like, that'd be the worst sales pitch ever. So nobody's going to do that. But with that being said, that doesn't mean that we have to accept the quality that's being presented. Now, in not accepting the quality that's being presented, two things happen. One, I'm not going to publicly bash this particular company, put it out there, put them on blast, and eliminate any opportunity that may be presented to them in the future, because they have the right to continue to market, sell their product, and continue to obtain business, people that are willing to work with them. So my obligation as far as not bashing black-owned business will be not to put them in a position where they can't grow and they can't continue to provide a livelihood for their family and their household. Now, in saying that, to be quite honest, now one thing that when you deal with a situation like that, I didn't do and I wouldn't do is continue to be the advocate for this business. So I had a couple people ask me about the product and service within my personal circle, and I had to be very honest with them. This is what happened. This is what I got from it. Would I recommend them to you in a private conversation? No. But this is a private conversation that I have with you, because my name and reputation is on the line in this conversation, and I don't want you to experience anything similar to what I have experienced. But in privacy, I tell you this, not publicly, where I eliminate the potential for them to continue to expand and grow and potentially get better at what they do. So it's not a case of you can't critique business or you can't point out things that need to be corrected, but be mindful of what you're doing when you're doing it and how it affects not only that business, but black infrastructure as a whole. Because again, if we're being honest and transparent, there is a stigma with black-owned business. Not all of us, but the community as a whole, we have a stigma as far as the standard, the quality, what they're able to bring. And even in rare cases where we see a business that's doing great and is running like a well-oiled machine, we a lot of times assume that it's a business by another ethnicity, because we've created this stigma in our mind that, you know, black-owned business can only run a certain way, which obviously is not true, and it's perpetuated when we constantly go out of our way to bash and put down a business instead of giving that business an opportunity to grow and mature and progress. So that's just a couple of things I wanted to share with the concept of supporting black-owned business also means not bashing said business. Give a business a chance to grow, give them a chance to mature, give them a chance to correct their actions. Again, look at your work experience, whether you're just a 9-to-5 employee, whether you own your own business, or whatever experience you had in the workforce. All of us have had to go out and learn and grow and mature. We've done some things, we've had some experiences, we've had some interactions where we had to look back on it and say, hey, going forward, I need to do better. I can handle this a little differently. We've all, if you've been in business long enough, I would say anything over 5 years, and probably less, to be quite honest, you gain experience on how to do things better, to present better quality, to give better service, to provide a better product. So all I'm petitioning is that you make sure you do the same thing or keep this in mind when you're going to say something that may potentially be adverse about another black-owned business. The effect that it has on that particular business, their ability to create livelihood, their ability to sustain and support infrastructure within inside of our community, and how this disrupts the ability and capability of us to keep black dollars within the black community. It's interesting fact, if you haven't seen our previous shows about this, the black dollar stays within the black community for an average of 6 hours. Now, we don't think that's egregious, and I don't know what to tell you. So in order to work on these things, in order to elevate us to a higher level of business productivity, just keep this in mind when you're dealing with a black-owned business. Make it a habit not to bash, but you know, if you have to critique, if there is some constructive criticism that needs to be given, make sure it's tactful and make sure you're mindful of how your words can affect and impact people that you deal with in your general circle. With all that being said, that's my little piece on it. Also, keep in mind that coming in August, we will be releasing the first edition of the Blacklist digital magazine. So if you guys are interested in being a part of it, we are doing a special promotion. You can look at the link that's attached to this post to find out more about the promotion, how your business can be promoted, how you can be a part of it, and the things that's to come with the Blacklist digital magazine. We're very excited about the things that we're bringing forth in the first edition and all the editions that's coming later. We have a lot of projects, we have a lot of things that we're trying to put out to make sure that we can solidify and we can bring black-owned business together as a whole. So that's my little spiel, that's my little piece. Thank you for giving me your time to talk to you a little bit and just share my thoughts about certain things. And until next time, Architect out.